Hello, hello, ni hao, ni hao. It's Tate from Nanjing Marketing Group. I'd like to talk to you about how to create multilingual content efficiently. It can be very hard to do this efficiently because you might have a bunch of different languages, a bunch of different platforms. You might have a big business with lots of different people in it and different departments. And then figuring out how to actually create that content and get it onto your website and get it in different places, get it into the hands and in front of the eyes of all sorts of different people around the world can be a very challenging thing to do. So I was talking to somebody about this today, and I'll explain their situation. They are a B2B business selling a very technical product, and they already make plenty of sales, but they want to make more of those sales directly. They want to attract more of their potential clients to their website and their own resources. This will give them a better ability to control their branding, and also it will help reduce their expenses because they can make the sales on their own. They have 4 languages that we were talking about today, and those are English, German, simplified Chinese, which is used in mainland China, and traditional Chinese, which is used in Taiwan and a bunch of other places outside of mainland China. They also have to consider their SEO too, because they haven't really done much of that yet. Their websites are fairly new, or at least some of them are. It's a rather complex situation, and they have various people in their business that can support this, and they also would work with probably us or some other freelancers or vendors that can help them with this kind of thing. So lots of moving parts here. Let's break it down and make it simpler, because we do this kind of work all the time. So I think that we can give you a simple process. First, I'll look at this example, and then I'll show you an example from how our company actually manages the workflow too. Okay. So here's the concept. Break the work down into 3 chunks. Okay. You have research, creation, and transcreation. Research is often going to be done on the job. It's all the learning that you do. You're an expert, or you have experts in your business, you know what you do, right? Hopefully. You might also need to do some additional research, maybe look up information, maybe you need to do some surveys or something. You could also do that. Creation is done by a writer, or maybe the same person that does research. And by that I mean creating the main core piece of content, creating the blog post or the white paper or the case study or the video, whatever it is. You only need to actually create this core piece of content and do the research once. It's better to just do it once than it is to do it for 4 different languages or for 20 different languages or whatever it is. Okay? Then after you have the content ready, you will transcreate it. And by transcreation, I mean translating it into other languages, but also adapting it for those readers and adapting it for the platforms that it will be shared on. So this B2B company, probably what they would have would be a long blog post. They showed me an example. Actually, it's quite long, maybe triple the size of our regular blog post. And we would take that content and we would translate it into simplified Chinese. We would translate it into traditional Chinese, which is actually rather simple from simplified to traditional. And then we would go further than that, because we would share it in different places. We would adapt it a bit and share it on Zhihu. We would adapt it some more and adapt the layout and share it on WeChat. The English content might be used in a newsletter. There might be a shortened version that's posted on LinkedIn. Another shortened version, perhaps with many images, shared on Weibo. Okay. There may be some other places that we share it too. It might be shared on some additional websites that we haven't even found yet, or some additional social platforms. We might have some ideas that come out of it that can be used for answers for Zhihu or for Quora. There's all sorts of different ways that this content can be repackaged and used. Once you've done the research and the writing, that's like a big chunk of the work already. So you might as well take that and use it on as many places as you can, as many places where it'll actually be effective in reaching users. Okay? This is the basic idea. Okay? So research, creation, transcreation. Now let's talk about some of the points about how to make this work, and then I'll go over an example of how we would actually do this in our business too. Okay? One point is that You might notice I said transcreation instead of just adaptation or translation. When we translate content from English into Chinese, our writer will look at that and look at it in the context of who is going to be reading it as well. We have an understanding of the target reader. And we might translate everything straight up, or we might find that there's some areas where we think that the Chinese target readers are going to have some misunderstandings or some additional questions. And then we'll go ahead and we'll ask the person that created the content for some more information. It's rather a simple process, I guess. We're just asking them like, hey, okay, this part, you introduced the product, but you didn't really say how to use it with XYZ hardware, which is common with our Chinese readers, right? Then they would answer that. We would add that in with the content. SEO. SEO is another thing that we have to consider here. So is there separate SEO for all 4 different languages or for 20 different languages, whatever it is? Or is SEO rather similar? The biggest part of SEO for the workload is just the content creation. But we also have to make sure that the websites are tailored for the search engines. Luckily, there's not going to be a million different search engines here. There are 2 main ones to consider for global SEO, and that is Google and Baidu. Okay. Everything that's used on Google is applicable to Baidu, but Baidu is a bit dumber too. There may be some extra things that we need to do, some extra care in taking a look at the website and making sure that some obstacles are removed so that Baidu can index a site and won't have any problems. All right. That's a big topic on its own. I have lots of other blog posts and videos about it. You can check those out separately. Once we get all the content out there, then we will want to analyze it too. This is another issue where global teams can get mixed up because you might have all these different reports in different places. You got the data in WeChat, maybe only one person's looking at that, and then you got your Google Analytics data for the website, and you got your Baidu Webmaster Tools data, your SEO data. It might be just a big mess. What we do is we take all of these data sources and we put them into one report from Google Looker, previously called Google Data Studio. We can get all of that data in there, and then we can use that in our meetings. We can use that to help guide our strategy and move forward. Of course, all the other data is available for people that want it too. The person that's just more focused on, if there's somebody on the team that's just more focused on WeChat articles and WeChat analysis, they can, of course, just go into the back end of WeChat and check that out. All right. One more thing to think about here is it's really great if you have a boss or an expert or something that is willing to generate content like this. All right. I do that in my business. I do that with videos, with blog posts. If you can really have the boss go on, or somebody that is really knowledgeable, has authority in the industry, that's great. Another example, you're going to see Elon Musk promoting Tesla, promoting SpaceX himself all the time. And it does really well. He really gets the word out there. It seems more authentic. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the actual workflow. Instead of talking about the hypothetical work that we might do for this company with their German and Chinese and English and other languages, let's look at the actual workflow for content that we use at Nanjing Marketing Group. I'm just going to, all right, I pulled it up on my screen here. Now, what you're looking at here, this is ClickUp. It's a project management tool, and it allows us to create templates in it to make things a bit easier. This is the actual template for this video that you're watching right now. This is what's going to happen with this video in my team, or at least the way that they're going to start out looking at it. All right. Now, first, what I did is I had the idea for this content, and I just went ahead and did that. In a bigger company, or if it's not the boss doing it, probably you'd have some planning process rather than just turning on the camera and starting to talk. But this works for us. Okay. So I'm going to create the core points. I'm going to create the core content here, which is in video format. And I also have some notes for my team as well. Okay. Now, somebody else here named Paul, he's going to take this video content, if it is in video, which it is this time, and he's going to write a blog post based on that in English. After that, Adam, video guy on our team, he is going to take a look at my video here. He's going to cut out the parts where I said something stupid or I messed up my words or whatever, just to make it a little bit shorter, more concise. In some cases, this might be more of an editing process, but for this video, probably not. Next, it's going to be translated. It's going to be translated in a Google Doc into Chinese. In this case here, we're doing it just in English and Chinese, no other languages. Then somebody's going to design pictures for the post. There might be some visual aids that are used in the blog post. Somebody else is going to review the whole content. Then they'll ask me if it's all okay. There might be some questions that they have for me, okay? Then the article is going to be published to our website, nanjingmarketinggroup.com. Then, so there will be some additional places where it might be uploaded to, okay? Now, I don't think we're going to put this one on Douyin or Little Red Book. Not all of these tasks need to be followed like this is set in stone, you know, or like this is a factory with machines that are just running and doing everything the exact same time. This list that we're following here is just a template, and we might adjust it based on the situation, you know. It's a little bit different each time, but at least this list helps us from forgetting what to do, and it just makes it so everybody's kind of on the same page. Okay, so then the video will be uploaded, etc., etc. The content will be adjusted for WeChat because the layout on WeChat is actually rather different than a blog post. It'll be broken down into smaller chunks so that you know, people that are using WeChat have a higher chance of opening it and sharing it with other people. It'll be published on WeChat. It'll be laid out for Zhihu, which is rather simple, and published on Zhihu. It may or may not be published on some other platforms too, okay? So this is a basic kind of workflow that we have for our own business. And then for each of the clients that we work with, our workflow is going to look something like this, or it's going to be maybe a bit different. And again, we will go ahead and we will customize it based on the situation, okay? But yeah, this is basically it. These are the kind of processes that we use to create hundreds of pieces of content per month for ourselves and for other clients in Chinese for our clients and in Chinese and English for ourselves. Hope this is useful for you. If you have some questions or if you have any feedback, any additional tips or whatever, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Thanks. See you later.